I still haven't updated your headshot.
Yeah, it's all right. You got a lot going on. You got a lot. You do a lot more to prepare the show than me.
Well,
So
to be fair, nothing's really changed since 2018 in that photo. Anyway, welcome everyone to No Credentials Required, where you don't need a press pass to talk sports. We are proudly presented by Belly Up Sports. My name is Ryan McCarthy. I'm one of your hosts. To my right is a man fresh-ish off his Extra Life fundraiser, Dustin Henry. Dustin, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing all right. I am recovered. We're gonna get to Extra Life later in the show, so I'll save my thoughts on that and everything. But let me just say at the top of the show, thank you so much for your support as well. Not only did you donate, you were at the house. You also were in the chat. You also made an outstanding graphic for it, and you put the link everywhere. So I'm gonna get into it later, but. I'm fully recovered, and I feel like I'm having a good hair day too today. I feel like I got it going on. So I'm feeling pretty good. I'm ready to talk some football with you, even though, man, my Extra Life stream was more entertaining than some of these games.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, some of these were absolute garbage this week. Some of these games were absolute trash this week. Trash, as a friend of the show, Cole Johnson, would say. But no, I mean, today, we got through week 10, and we're going to talk all about it in just a moment. But before we do that, we just got to remind you, we are on the Facebook page tonight and our YouTube page live. We're also on the Belly Up Sports Twitter/X account. I still call it Twitter. I don't care what anybody says. We're on Twitter tonight, on the Belly Up Sports Twitter tonight. Tomorrow, the show will be on, tomorrow morning specifically, the show will be on the Belly Up Sports YouTube channel. So we would just like to kindly ask you to follow us on social media. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Just search for No Credentials Required. You also find the rest of our content, podcasts, and written articles at bellyupsports.com. On the podcast side, oh boy, subscribe to the podcast on your preferred pod platform, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, Amazon Music, iHeart, TuneIn, Pandora, and our host, which is Podbean. And hit that notification bell on Twitter and on YouTube so you know when shows go live, when there's general announcements about the show, and when we have clips of the show that go live. We're also a live show. Again, we're a live show. Tuesdays at 6:30 p.m. Eastern, Saturdays at 10 a.m. Eastern, the occasional live react stream, also the occasional happy hour on Fridays, which we haven't done in a while, but hopefully we get to do that before the NFL season concludes. And special announcement, 2 weeks from Thursday, we're going to do our annual Thanksgiving live stream. We're going to be talking about the Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys specifically, because we are both watching the Gambler and the Cowboys, all about Darrell Jones and his foray into purchasing and running the Dallas Cowboys from 1989 to present day. So this will be a YouTube exclusive. This will be on the YouTube channel. It won't be on podcast platform. We're going to stream it on our Facebook, on our YouTube, and on the Belly Up Sports Twitter channel. So 10 a.m. Eastern, come stop by, talk some Cowboys with us, and talk about Thanksgiving memories too. Like, we also like to know, like, your favorite Thanksgiving dishes, whether it be side dishes, desserts, traditions. What do you do for Halloween? Thanksgiving. Goodness gracious. And again, we're a live show on Tuesdays and on Saturdays. And Dustin, I know this. You must have heard this sound on Saturday while you were trying to push through Extra Life and get all those hours so you can get all those donations in. And I know this music. I know this sound. It helped pick up your spirit a little bit.
Oh yeah, I mean, I was laughing because of a friend of mine. It's what he typed in. It's chime time.
It certainly is. Let's look at the comments section. We'll have a visit there real quick before we talk about week 10 and Mr. Dan Cruz from the Time to BS podcast is reciting the lyrics of the Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald by one Gordon Lightfoot, Canadian music legend.
Yeah, I'd like to read the first line of this one, if I may. The legend lives on from the Chippewa down of the big lake they called Gitchagumi. That's it. We're not getting copyright struck, everybody.
No, we are not. We are definitely not. And yes, yesterday was the 50th anniversary of the sing. I didn't realize the Edmund Fitzgerald was only 50 years ago. I thought it was much longer ago, based on the song from the 1970s by the late great Gordon Lightfoot, who
Yeah.
actually performed at the 2012 Grey Cup in Toronto.
Oh man.
Well, I guess they had gone with a bevy of Canadian music legends for that halftime show in 2012 because it was the 100th anniversary of the Grey Cup. So,
Oh, okay.
yeah, live performance there for him. He must have been in his late 70s or early 80s at that point and got up on
Yeah.
stage and rocked it. So good for him.
Yep.
Julie from Michigan chiming in. Hello, gentlemen. Julie also saying, your stream was great. Dustin, it was a lot of fun. Absolutely, it was.
Oh man. Well, I'm so happy that, Julie, you stopped by for large chunks of the
Did.
stream.
Yeah.
Dez as well. Dez was
Yeah.
on it
Shout out
for
to Dez.
a long time. And
Yeah.
Sick Diggy, of course.
Mhm.
So much love was felt during the stream.
Jersey G was also in the chat too for a little bit.
Yeah.
So. And Dan saying, oh God, I can sense the council of Jerry Jones entering the room. Well, Dan, I cannot wait for Thanksgiving. It's one of my favorite holidays, not because of the turkey or the blessings, but because people put cash in my pockets buying tickets for our Dallas Cowboys.
I have great memories of that Creed performance in 2001, and those were glory days of the team. Dave Campbell and, of course, Quincy Carter, or possibly Drew Henson starting at quarterback. Oh, man, I got to get in the groove.
Dan, again, this impression's a work in progress, okay? And if there was to be anybody who would play Jerry Jones in a movie, a biopic, it would be Billy Bob Thornton.
Yeah, that would be a good pick. And as for my impression, it's like a certain cologne that people know from Anchorman. 60% of the time, it works every time. I can't always get
60% of the time, all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, we're going to talk about week 10 of the NFL. We're going to start off with our game of the year of the week. And week 10 didn't have a heck of a whole lot to offer in terms of solid games to watch. Some games looked like they were going to be good early, but then they kind of tailed off and one team ran away with it at the end. But for me, I don't know about you, Dustin. What was your game of the year of the week in week 10?
Well, for me, and I'm going to let you talk about it more because, spoiler, as you said, there weren't too many options to pick. I would have picked Falcons and Colts for the sake of the content because the Falcons were competitive in that game. However, I was not up to see it. I was still sleeping during that time. So I ended up picking the Jags Texans simply because everybody wants to make a lot about the Giants. Yet another fourth quarter collapse, and we'll get to that later. But the Jags made this game entertaining virtually by how bad the collapse was, Ryan. This game kind of had it kind of had the finish. It had the finish of again, usual suspects type finish. And the Jags, listen to these stats. I could not believe these. The Texans outscored the Jaguars 26-0 in the fourth quarter. They also outgained the Jaguars 167 yards to 2. Oof. So that's how you collapse. That's how. Now, the Texans defense, they were every bit as good as advertised in this one. But the surprising person that got it going to me was old Davis Mills himself. CJ Stroud was out for this. David Mills, by God, that's David Mills music.
By God, that's the next music. Yeah, talking about this game. In the third, with 12:29 remaining in the fourth quarter, the win probability for the Jaguars was 97.4%. It was 29-10 at that point. And then it just keeps sinking. And with a minute 56 remaining, it went all the way down to 62%.
Man. Oh, wow.
And by the time Houston scored their touchdown with 20 seconds left in the fourth. Actually, that was the sack by the Texans on 1st and 10 from Jacksonville's 33. The win percentage had gone to 98.7 for Houston. It was if you're a Jaguars fan, all right. So I didn't have this game. This would have been my, and I'm renaming it. I'm not calling it the self-hated game of the week anymore, based on the events of last week with Marshawn Freeland. Freeland. I'm not going to call it that anymore. I call it the friends and family game of the week now.
Mm-hmm.
Jaguars would have been my friends and family game of the week. Would have been, was almost my game of the week, but I wanted to see what the Texans could do now that CJ Stroud was out, because he was out with a concussion, and I wanted to see how the Jaguars would respond to the win they had last week in Las Vegas, when it was horribly boring. The first three quarters, when they got going, they went up winning by 1. But it looked, for the Jaguars, it looked really, really good very early in the game. They had 20-0 lead in the first a 20-10 lead at halftime. At one point, they were leading 17-0 because special teams. So special teams did something special. That's what they call them, special teams. With Parker Washington, he had 2 touchdowns in the first half, and the second touchdown he had was a 73-yard punt return. That was one of 2 punt returns we had in the NFL in the early window. The other one was Isaiah Johnson for the for my New York Jets, taking a punt return back for a touchdown, and that was right off a kickoff return by Kenny Nguanu when the Browns went up 7-0. So special teams doing special things in the NFL this week, but it looked really bad for the Titans in the fourth quarter. And here's my problem with the Jacksonville Jaguars. I had lauded them back in September. I said their defense is going to be the difference this year for them. And I thought to myself, this could be a team that could be knocking on the door come January, late December, early January, for a playoff spot. Now they're sitting at 5-4. And I believe they are currently outside of a playoff spot. Let me just check my standings here for the playoff picture. And they're actually the last wild card team.
Right now. Okay.
Based on they have a tiebreaker over Kansas City in winning percentage, but Houston's knocking on Jacksonville's door. So this could be a make or break point. Now, I also have to wonder too. Again, 26 points scored in the fourth quarter, and one of those touchdowns was basically the nail in the coffin for the Jaguars when it was Sheldon Rankins who took a fumble back for a touchdown that basically sealed the game and give them more points in the points section. But if you had defense and special teams in your fantasy lineups this week, you had some, especially if you had some of these teams like the Texans, like the Jaguars, like the Jets. Yeah, pretty good week. I'll just leave it that way.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a great week for me, fantasy-wise, because in the money league, I had Travion Henderson on my bench. Forgot to put him in. So that was a bad one. But yeah, we'll hear about this game again later. Because spoiler, it comes up in another category for me, but man, so I'll save it for that. But yeah, this was something for sure. This was something. This will be remembered, and it'll be interesting to see how the Jags recover from something like that, because they are teetering. And meanwhile, the Texans might have just saved their season, because don't look now, everybody. CJ Stroud, sneakily before the injury, he was starting to play better. He was starting to put it together. So
yeah, but yeah, I have to wonder if this is basically going to be a role reversal. Next week, Houston travels to Tennessee. to play the Titans, and Jacksonville, I believe they have a home game against the Chargers, who again another Jekyll and Hyde team based on their injuries, but they won this week. They beat Pittsburgh this week, so
yeah,
it's you have to wonder how the Jaguars are going to respond, and I have a feeling this guy is going to get them motivated. Duval. Yeah, I think it was Levac and Gaz yesterday were talking about how Liam Cohen just seems like an immature dude for a head coach.
Oh, okay.
Because remember when Jacksonville played the 49ers and gave them their first loss of the season, he was jaw-jacking with Robert Saleh.
Yeah.
Then after the game, and then after Sheldon Rankins took back that touchdown, he threw his headset down. So it's like, I know it's first year. I know it's first year. So the first year learning is always a learning process especially if you're a newer head coach.
Yeah.
But you got to act better, man. You got to act better when it comes down to, being more mature, being the bigger man when it comes to a loss.
No, you have to. And I mean, you don't want to take away a coach's fire. You want them to be invested. You want them in, but at the same time, there's the same way you got to kind of rein it in sometimes and read the situation, figure out how to act, because guess what? The players are looking to you as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, let's get the comment section real quick. Julie from Michigan, naturally, Lions Commanders was my game of the week. Sound the Homer alert. That was for her. Dan saying Jacksonville weathered away, took their one last breath and went to their own prison with arms wide open. Anyway.
And I said, "Whoa!" All right. They will come after us.
Yeah, and Dan saying, "Yeah, they called me special teams, and all of a sudden I'm on the Magic short bus. Hey, be nice, be nice." And also noting, "Big man touchdown, me." And also says, "Speaking of firing coaches, Brian Daboll. I'll talk about that momentarily, Dan. Momentarily." Biggest upset of the week, and in my mind, it was my friends and family game of the week.
Yeah,
I talked about Saints and Panthers being a game to avoid if you're in the 1 o'clock window, and boy was I right. But I will say this: it looked good, at least the initial salvo for the Panthers. Drove down the field. They're giving the ball Rico Dowdle. That's their meat. That's their meat and potatoes right there. Is handing the ball off to Rico Dowdle because he's going to do special things with the football, and he did, at least on the opening drive. And then it dried up. And I'll say this for this: I'll give us credit where credit's due for the New Orleans Saints. They had to stop the rushing offense of the Carolina Panthers, and they wanted to make Bryce Young try to beat them, and they did a good job in that regard. Rico Dowdle finished with only 53 yards in this game. 53. And again, the Saints defense, they did their job. Cam Jordan had a sack. For Demario Davis, he had 7 tackles. Chris Olave, if you put Tyler Shug in your fantasy league, A, what are you doing? How deep is your league? And B, it was a good week for you. It was a good week for you. And I'm not going to say that the New Orleans Saints are driving a tank. They're not. This team, their record is 2-8.
No,
but they don't act like a 2-8 team. Kellen Moore, I got to give credit where credit's due. If there's like a deep runner-up for Coach of the Year in the NFL, it's Kellen Moore because he's doing a lot with a little. And yes, and the Saints have a lot of aging stars in their team. Cam Jordan, as I mentioned, Alvin Kamara, Demario Davis. They're guys who are a little bit older and they've been in the league for a bit, but they know how to get the young guys going. They know how to coach up the young guys and get them motivated for what's coming down the road. And they had a chance to shock the NFC South. They're the only team in the NFC South to win this week.
Wow.
Tampa Bay lost. Atlanta lost. Atlanta should have won their game. Oh, goodness gracious. Talk about another coach in the hot seat, Raheem Morris. Hello.
Yeah, it's getting late early for Raheem.
Yeah.
Shout out to you, Yogi.
Yeah, shout out to Yogi. But this was a game I kind of had circled because I'm thinking to myself, all right, this game's gonna be bad. It's gonna be awful because it's two teams who, and every time I give flowers to Carolina, they go out and mess it up. And I had enough faith to pick them this week in our cut the breaks pick 'em challenge, which we'll talk about momentarily. But every time I pick them, they don't reward my faith in them. Selfishly speaking. And I have to wonder if head coach Dave Canales is going to have to bench Bryce Young again based on his play. And it's unless he's playing the Cowboys, Bryce Young is not playing up to his potential. Which is sad.
Yeah, we thought he was going to take the leap this year based on the way he finished last year and the way he looked at times this year. But the problem is, if you're Dave Canales, you bench Bryce Young for Andy Dalton. We all know how Andy Dalton looked that 1 week. Woof. Yep. Woof, that was not good.
The red rifle.
Yeah.
Never let him down. You can never count him out. But I have to wonder from, at least for the time being, because looking at Carolina's schedule, where is it? Right here. Carolina has the Falcons, the 49ers, the Rams, the Saints, and the Buccaneers coming down the road. And, not to mention the Seahawks and the Buccaneers, again, to close out the season. So I have to wonder if Dalton's going to have to pick up the slack for Bryce Young, because Bryce Young's performances, and I know he's the quarterback of the future. They traded all that draft capital, then DJ Moore over to Chicago to jump up and pick him first a couple seasons ago. But so far and it hired Dave Canales to be the guy to kind of develop him. But right now it's just when the run game gets stopped.
Yeah.
You put it on Bryce Young, and Bryce Young right now has not been the guy to handle the pressure.
Yeah. I mean, it's you got burned by him. But like you said, credit to the Saints, because Kellen Moore, whatever he's doing, he's got them playing hard every week. They are in almost every game. There's a couple games where they got blown out. I mean, the one where they had to bench Spencer Rattler, that one looked bad. The game against the Seahawks, that one looked bad. But other than that, the Saints are competitive in every game they play, and we thought they were going to be by far the worst team in the NFL this season. And based on the way they're playing, they're not.
No, they're not. So that's my biggest upset. It's also going to tie into my biggest disappointment of the week. But Dustin, who is your biggest upset in Week 10?
Oh man, it was one pick for me. It's one pick, and it's the Dolphins over the Buffalo Bills. Because I mean, the Dolphins. Okay, yes, they have Devon Achane, who is playing like a man possessed this season. Yes, they have Jalen Waddle. They retained him. They did not let him go. But outside of that, the Dolphins defense, they must be listening to the show, because I lit them up a couple weeks ago for the way they were playing run defense. They were able, you have been very vocal, Ryan, and you're 100% right. The Buffalo Bills offense runs through James Cook. That is who makes that offense go. And the Dolphins were able to shut him down this week. The Dolphins, yes, that's right. The Dolphins run defense again stepped up, and they shut down James Cook. James Cook was held to 53 yards on 13 carries. So, Ryan, both our biggest disappointments, the running backs who are supposed to be the bell cow of the offense, were held to 53 yards in both games. Rico Dowdle for you, and one James Cook for me. The Bills seemed like they just came out flat after their big win against the Chiefs. Seems like they threw everything they had to try to beat the Chiefs last week. And the Dolphins got him. The Dolphins caught him with a left hook. And credit to the Dolphins, because the Dolphins could have just folded like a chair. They fired their GM, their head coach. You're kind of wondering why he's still around. You're wondering why they didn't fire him either. And Devon Achane torched the Bills again. He torched people. And for 22 carries, 174 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And also, I heard on the 06010 podcast today, the Fantasy Focus, if you took Devon Achane's numbers, and just factored him in as a wide receiver, he would be wide receiver number 14, statistically ranked by Fantasy Football. That's how much he is catching the ball for the team. He is a man possessed. But if you're the Buffalo Bills, how do you lose this game? How do you find a way to lose this game? They are doing too much.
I know.
Oh, I will call on you in a moment, sir. But this game, more than any other, to me, just emphasizes their need for a number one wideout. I'm sorry, Khalil Shakir, but you're the leading receiver with 7 receptions and I think 58 yards or something. It's not going to get it done. They are relying on Josh Allen too much. They need to figure it out. But Ryan, what do you have as a potential reason? Is it coaching with Sean McDermott? Because sometimes Sean McDermott makes some boneheaded decisions. We all remember when he let a pretty much concussed Josh Allen throw it on for 4 straight downs out of their own end zone last year.
Yeah.
But yeah, so but what is your reason for this? But I mean, to me, this was the biggest upset of the week. I didn't see this coming.
Well, I had talked about the day that Chris Greer got fired. I was opining on Belly Up Sports, on the Belly Up Sports YouTube channel, on Twitter, on Facebook, my social media, about the Dolphins becoming sellers at the trade deadline. Now, it looked like they were going to be sellers at the trade deadline. They had traded Jalen Phillips to Philadelphia for a couple picks.
Mm-hmm.
But on Sunday, before the game started, there was a report. I'm not sure if it was Jay Glazer or it was Ian Rappaport. Somebody had mentioned at the trade deadline, the Buffalo Bills had reached out to not only the Miami Dolphins about the services of Jalen Waddle, but also the New York Jets regarding the service of Quinnen Williams. And both the Jets and the Dolphins told him to pound sand. We'll see you. And the Dolphins said, "Go pound sand. We'll see you on Sunday." And I think this was a motivational factor that the Bills were trying to poach one of their own in Jalen Waddle, and Champ Kelly, to his credit, before the trade deadline said, Jalen Waddle is off the table. Nobody's going to pick him. We are not going to trade Jalen Waddle.
Yeah,
we had no plans to trade Jalen Waddle, even though he was one of the names leaked out. I wouldn't say leaked out there, but we're suspected of being a player to be moved at the trade deadline. And I think when you hear those reports, or they heard that report, the Dolphins were motivated to get after the Buffalo Bills, and they did, because nobody circles the wagons like the Miami Dolphins. And they absolutely just took the Bills to the woodshed in this game.
They did.
It was over. The point of the game when it was over was that fumble by Josh Allen in the fourth quarter, with 7:19 remaining. And you don't see Josh Allen fumble a whole lot.
No.
That was shocking.
Yeah, not since his rookie, like if I remember his rookie year and maybe like his second year in the league, he had some issues with that because he wasn't protecting the ball as well when he's running.
Nope.
But since then, it doesn't happen. That doesn't happen.
Nope. And then the next offensive possession for the Dolphins, Achane goes for a 59-yard run, and it's good. It's bedtime for Buffalo because the Dolphins went up 23-6. And to their credit, the Bills try to make it a game, but they scored a touchdown. They brought it within 10. By the next series, it looks like the Bills tried to go for an onside. They went for an onside kick, didn't convert, and Achane took another 35-yard trot to the end zone, and that was the game ender. That was the end game for this particular Buffalo Bills team that day. So will they have a bounce back week? Let's see I forget who they play next week. They're playing the Buccaneers next week. They're hosting Tampa Bay next week. So could we see this Bills team lose 2 in a row? Which we don't see a whole lot of. It could happen.
No, and the problem is, I mean, let's call it what it is. I mean, I don't want to be calling stuff too early, but the Patriots are good. Bills are going to have to contend with the Patriots in this division. This division is not running through Buffalo fait accompli like it has been the past couple of seasons.
No.
And you're telling me too, the Bucs are going to be motivated after their loss. And I mean, Todd Bowles knows how to scheme a defense. You always say it. We always say it. So this could get ugly a little bit for the Bills. And you're right that they did reach out about Jalen Waddle. They also reached out to the New Orleans Saints about Chris Olave, and they were summarily dismissed. So they were trying to get Josh Allen somebody. But you got to come away from the trade deadline with something. I'm sorry.
Yep.
I'm sorry. I mean, we could go back to what the Seahawks did. The Seahawks were able to get Shaheed from the New Orleans Saints, which I think is going to be a good move. But you got to do something. They're trying to give Sam Darnold another target. And if you're the Bills GM, you gotta offer whatever you can to try to get your quarterback another number one target. And you failed.
It happened last year. They went out and got Amari Cooper at the trade deadline, and it had worked. They got to the championship game again, but couldn't get past the Chiefs. And they tried to do the same thing this year, and teams said, no thanks. We're not interested. All right. So before we go to a commercial break, we got one more segment. We're talking about our biggest disappointment of Week 10. And I'm going to have you lead up this one, Dustin.
All right, well, I'll keep this one quick. I mean, it's two teams that blew fourth quarter leads. But, I mean, the Giants, we'll get to the Giants. The reason it's disappointing is it is not the first time they have done this. They have blown a lot of fourth quarter leads, and they've done it when a lot of people are watching. But the Jags, man, the Jags, I said the stats earlier, you get outscored 26-0 in the fourth quarter. You also get outgained 167-2. That is not a typo. But the thing that I did not reveal earlier, and we'll talk about it a little bit later in the end of the show, I did not mean for it to be so synergistic this week with all my themes and everything that I picked. But the Texans turned the ball over twice on special teams and gave the Jags short fields, and they also gave up that punt return. So if not for that, this game wouldn't have even been close. So, I mean, it's pretty ridiculous. The Jags laid an egg against a team that did not have their starting quarterback, has been struggling offensively, although they're starting to pick it up a little bit. And I get it. The Texans defense is amazing. I believe going into that game, they were the number one overall defense statistically in the NFL. The Texans defense is keeping them alive. But you got to find a way to win that game against a team that has been so offensively challenged with their backup quarterback. You cannot blow a lead like that. It is inexcusable, especially in the division. So the Jags, they get my biggest disappointment.
Yeah, I mentioned it in the biggest upset. My biggest disappointment is the Carolina Panthers. Again, every time I have faith in them, every time I think they're going to turn the corner, they go out and lay a giant egg. I mean, they did it against Buffalo 2 weeks ago. They won last week, and I figured, all right, they're 4-4. They got momentum. They're going to push towards a playoff berth, and then they get smacked in the face by the New Orleans Saints. Listen to the play. This is the entire play-by-play for the Carolina Panthers. They were held to 175 yards total offense.
Man,
gross. So after that initial touchdown, 12 plays, 67 yards, Rico Dowdle, and he gets the 5-yard touchdown. Punt, 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 end of half. Then the second half, they force a punt from the Saints, miss a field goal, recover a fumble. No, I'm sorry. No, they recovered a fumble. No. I'm sorry. Hang on.
No.
This is weird. This is a weird structure here. Oh, okay. So here's what happened. They had a field goal blocked, and then Cam Jordan muffed it like Leon Lett style.
Oh, yeah.
And they actually the Panthers wound up recovering the blocked field goal, the muffed blocked field goal, got the ball back, but then Bryce Young puts it on the ground, and then interception, turnover on downs, and that was it. And then the Saints end the game on a 14-play drive.
Oh
with
man.
three of those plays just basically being kneel downs.
Yeah.
It was terrible. It was a terrible day for them, and I can understand how some fans can get so frustrated. I don't know if you heard about the two guys who are in the podcast called Meow Mix, the Meow Mix podcast.
Oh
Yes,
no.
it was called the Meow Mix podcast. It was run by a couple Panthers fans who, after I think week 4, said, "We're done. We are done investing our time in this team. We're taking time away from our families to watch football, to watch this team and report on them every single week. And we're done with it. We're tired of it." And then Carolina went on that winning streak. There was no idea. I wasn't sure if they were going to come back or not, but apparently they're not.
Mm-hmm.
Made their decision permanent. And I think after this game, their decision was justified. So, needless to say, both Dustin and I are
disappointed.
Yeah. Julie's saying, "I couldn't believe the Dolphins shut down the Bills. It feels like the Twilight Zone." That's how the NFL season is right now. I mentioned it to guest the friend of the show, Lou Gamelin. Shout out to you, Captain Lou. We're gonna have him back on some point, sometime later this season. But yeah. I said to him, this NFL season, it makes you feel like you're driving down the highway, and this car just all of a sudden just speeds up, pulls right in front of you, cuts you off, and then flips you the bird. And it happened again in week 10.
Yeah, week 10. I mean, there have been some beautiful weeks of football this season, and heck, even the Thursday night football games. We started out on a tear. I thought, you have called them Thursday night football for years now, and I was saying, hey, we might have to re-examine that name. But Thursdays are back, okay? Because they're not great, but there's a lot of games that are just getting out of hand early, or teams just can't. There's a lot of teams that are sputtering. I mean, look at last night's Packers-Eagles game. It was 0-0 at the half. Ugh. Nobody could get it going. It's crazy. And some of these coaching calls, like, I cannot be a coach in the NFL, okay? Every head coach in the NFL is smarter than me. Every GM, yes, that's right, even including Andrew Berry, is smarter than me. And Jerry Jones. I'll say it because he's got a lot of money. I don't. But like, some of these coaching decisions, you're looking at your head, you're scratching your head. You're like, what is going on? What are you doing? And some of the ways that these teams, the decisions that they're making, the things that they're doing, I don't know. It's just some sloppy football sometimes. And we'll get to it later in the show as well.
Yeah, if I wanted to watch the XFL, I'd wait till March. Yeah. Come on, pick it up, NFL. Come on, you're better than this. Better than this. All right, we're going to go do our network mandated commercial break. So we're going to take a break and let you know that this episode of No Credentials Required is fueled by Righteous Felon Craft Jerky, the outlaw of the snack world. Forget the gas station stuff. This jerky is all natural, low sugar, and absolutely packed with flavor. Every 2-ounce bag delivers 20 grams of protein made with beef that has no added hormones, no antibiotics, and no shady business. But jerky's just the beginning. Righteous Felon's lineup also includes beef sticks for on-the-go snacking, tender turkey jerky that's light but still packs a punch and tastes like a Thanksgiving dinner, and authentic South African-style biltong that melts in your mouth. Their flavors range from savory classics like the OG Hickory and the victorious BIG, their honey bourbon flavor, to spicy kicks like Habanero Escobar and Carolina Reaper. So whether you want smooth, smoky, or fiery heat, they've got you covered. And don't forget, they even got Wild Ranger dog treats, so your four-legged sidekick can join the snack game too. Pickles and Logan approved. Head over to righteousfelon.com. Use promo code NOCREDS at checkout to score 15% off your order. Plus, when you spend over $50, shipping is free. Righteous Felon Craft Jerky, where flavor is the crime, and you're guilty of enjoying every bite. Hey, we got some right here.
Oh, man. Delicious.
The habanero Escobar, as mentioned in the ad. The Soul Survivor, spicy and a little spicy, a little savory too.
Yeah.
You got the Maryland-inspired Monroe, which is inspired by which has the Old Bay seasoning that you see on the DMV put on their crabs, the seafood, not the and the bootleg and barbecue, which is one of their other savory flavors. But you've also got, again, their beef sticks. I got in my hand the fiery habanero and the street taco inspired, which is made with al pastor pineapple pork. So all delicious, all good. Again, righteousfelon.com. Use promo code NOCREDS at the checkout. You get 15% off your order. And again, free shipping, fast shipping.
Yeah.
Every order $50 or more.
I ordered some last days before Christmas Eve. Days. I can't remember. I think it was December 22nd. I said, oh, no, I didn't get anything from my dog nephew. I said, I got to change that. So I ordered the Ranger dog treats, and they arrived quick. And this was during the hustle and bustle of the holiday season. Also, I must add that when I went on a hike in Virginia during vacation, this past few months ago, I brought both the Maryland Monroe and I brought the Soul Survivor along with the Darth Garlic Biltong, and they were hits with all of us. We all enjoyed them. And for the pickier eater in the family, I'll keep him anonymous, but he's younger. He's 14, so he's at the age where not everything tastes good to him. He loved the OG hickory beef stick. So, man, give it a shot. You won't be disappointed.
No, you will not. No, you will not. And again, we appreciate if you would use our promo code NOCREDS at checkout. And like every single product we use, we advertise on this show as an affiliate sponsor. Righteous Felon. You get this no credentials required seal of approval. Good old puppers. All right, we're going to move on to our peak performers in Week 10. And Dustin, my peak performer in Week 10 is not a player.
Ooh.
It is not a player. It is a head coach. Specifically, in Julie for Michigan, I know your ears are ringing right now. It is Dan Campbell. Dan Campbell, I think when the NFL schedule came out, he had this date. He had Week 10 circled on the calendar. Because remember what happened last divisional playoff?
Yeah.
The Commanders traveled to Detroit and took them by surprise. They punched them in the face repeatedly in the first half. And by the third quarter, this game was over.
Yeah.
It's a bad memory. I know Julie from Michigan will want to forget. But Dan Campbell had this date circled on the calendar. And after last week's flat performance against the Vikings, he said he went full Thanos. And says, fine, I'll call the plays myself. And guess what happened? The line scored 44 points. And they racked up 546 total yards of offense, including 226 on the ground.
Yeah.
And the Lions beat a Commanders team that is right now, they're getting left further and further behind in the rear view mirror of the playoff race. Again, another disappointment. I mean, I thought the Commanders would challenge the Eagles for this NFC East. Right now, if you look at the division standings, this NFC East is going to be run away with again for the Philadelphia Eagles, especially based off of last night's performance against the Green Bay Packers, and which we'll talk about again a little bit later in the show. But that was my peak performer was Dan Campbell. Remember, whenever you hear somebody say about Dan Campbell that he's just a big dumb football player, no, this guy went to Texas A&M. You have to be a really good student to get in Texas A&M. He's a smart dude. He knows his football, and he put up a hell of a game plan against the Commanders on Sunday. So that's why he earns my peak performer for Week 10. Dustin, who is yours?
Well, that's a great pick, Ryan, because Dan Campbell, I mean, Jameson Williams was involved. The running game looked rejuvenated. He was ready. But I went in a bit of a different direction, and it's not a surprising direction, I hate to admit. But my PD pick of the week, it's another running back. Jonathan Taylor must have heard me. He must have heard me because I called him out. Called him out on Seahawks Sessions because Dan and Kevin and I were talking about early favorites for MVP because, believe it or not, Sam Darnold is getting some MVP consideration. And I did not pick Sam Darnold as my early favorite for the MVP. Listen to that show to find out who I picked, but I called out. I said, a couple weeks ago, I would have told you it was Jonathan Taylor without blinking. But however, Jonathan then proceeded to kind of, lay a couple eggs. Well, he's back in this game because he had, now in a normal week, you're thinking Devon Achane's performance would have been the best one by a running back. Not so, because Jonathan Taylor outdid him for 244 yards against the Falcons and 3 touchdowns, including the game winner in OT, because the Falcons did show up to play in this one for a little bit. I had to watch the highlights, but he also threw in a mere 3 receptions for 42 yards. So unlike some running backs, there's certain running backs like Quinshon Judkins. If he doesn't get a lot of yards rushing, he's not really a factor out of the backfield. You can't say that about Jonathan Taylor. He's not catching the ball to the clip that Christian McCaffrey is or that Devon Achane is, but he can catch the ball if it's thrown to him. But yeah, least surprising pick. It is another running back. However, I have to give a quick honorable mention just because the odds of this happening, astronomical. So the Seahawks, Tyrese Knight and DeMarcus Lawrence combined for the same play twice, basically. 2 defensive touchdowns the exact same way. Special shout out to Tyrese Knight, who was playing because of injuries. He forced 2 fumbles, and both of those fumbles were then scooped up by DeMarcus Lawrence for the score. So the 2 of them did that twice. It was almost the identical play. Tyrese Knight got in. One time he hit the ball when Jacoby Brissett was going to throw, and another time he went in and hit Jacoby Brissett's wrist while he was going to throw. Both plays, same result. DeMarcus Lawrence then scoops it up into the end zone. That's part of the reason the Seahawks jumped out to that 35-0 lead to start that game. So honorable mention to them, but it's Jonathan Taylor for me this week.
Yeah, Jonathan Taylor, I saw the scoreline for him. I'm going, wow, what did he do? And, I don't know. He's had, an 83-yard touchdown run. Also had the game-winning touchdown, the 8-yard run. He does it all. Yeah. And, I visited, I had my monthly appearance on the Back and Guys yesterday at Mohawk Chevrolet. And we're talking about the NFL MVP. And, I said basically that the NFL, both the Heisman Trophy in college football and the NFL MVP are just glorified. They're glorified quarterback awards.
Yeah.
Saquon Barkley were in for 2,000 yards last year, barely got a vote and barely got a first place vote in NFL MVP.
Yeah.
For NFL MVP. We got Sam Darnold, talk about Sam Darnold MVP voting. Drake May MVP voting. Matthew Stafford MVP voting.
Yeah.
Nobody's talking about Jonathan Taylor in the year he's having.
No.
He's already got 1,000 yards for the year. In the first 10 weeks. There's 8 to go. Could he break 2,000? I don't know. I hope he does. Yeah, I really hope he does. Hope so. I really want, and I hope he does something with the touchdown record, because let's see, NFL single season record
for touchdowns.
Touchdown record. I think it's Jerry Rice, but
yeah, by a running back.
No, LaDainian Tomlinson had 31 in 2006.
Okay, yeah, and I remember because a season before that or so, Sean Alexander had, I think, 27 in 2005, and that was the record, and then that was broken by LaDainian, I think.
Yeah. So right now he's got 1,139 yards and 15 touchdowns in 10 weeks. So could he break both? Could he break 2,000 and get to 31 touchdowns? He's got 8 weeks to do it.
Yeah, he might. He might, and I don't know. And I agree with you, Ryan. Like, all these quarterbacks are getting now. Matthew Stafford, you can't argue with the season he's having. He is destroying. He is playing some of the best football of his career. And, if Matthew Stafford gets an MVP award, he deserves it based on the play that he is having, especially when people were worried about his back. The Rams openly shopped him. If
Yeah.
he had gone to the Giants, God save him, he would have been hurt.
His back would have been broken 3 times already.
But I would argue, and this is not to take away from what Sam Darnold is doing. I mean, heck, he had 3 incompletions during that Monday night game, and he started the game against the Cardinals 7 for 7. You're thinking, is he going to do it again? But you could make an argument that a lot of Sam Darnold's success is based on 2 things: that offensive line protecting him, and also the play of Jackson Smith-Njigba, who I would argue should get some MVP consideration, but
or at least Offensive Player of the Year consideration.
Yeah, but like you said, they won't get it because they're not quarterbacks, and I think
sucks.
Jonathan Taylor, he's done something to bring his name back into the conversation, because say his name and he appears. Uncle Al has a valid question, I think.
How much of Indiana Jones is Jonathan Taylor? Yes.
Yeah.
That's all I can say is yes. Look at the success he had in 2022 with Saquon Barkley in the backfield.
Yeah.
He goes to a city what has an established running back like Jonathan Taylor, who is on his way to break his own rushing record of 1,811 rushing yards that he broke 4 seasons ago. That's the team record for the Colts, by the way. He's well on his way to do that. Well on his way. And I think the performance of Daniel Jones has a lot to do with the season that Jonathan Taylor is having. And I think if Jonathan Taylor stays, he's going to get himself a nice big fat extension. And I think Daniel Jones stays for another couple seasons. And your uncle agrees with me. 100. All right, we're going to move along to our biggest takeaway from Week 10. I'm going to have you start off, Dustin. What was your biggest takeaway from Week 10?
All right. Well, you referenced it earlier in the show. You said there was some special teams magic, but for every bit of magic, that means that on the other side, there's some special teams slop going on. Because I was... some tragic play by the special teams. Tragic versus magic. But, man, I was just surprised as I'm watching. And to be fair, okay, in my defense, I was up until about 2:30 in the morning. I was very tired, man. So I did fall asleep during some of the early window games. But sloppy special teams play was a theme this week. Houston turned the ball over twice on special teams, giving the Jaguars the short field and opportunities in the red zone. Mm-hmm. And they also gave up that return to Jacksonville, which ended up, keeping Jacksonville in that game before this huge collapse. But then you look on the other side, the Browns gave up back-to-back. I can't remember the last time that this happened. So the Jets return a kickoff for a touchdown, and then there's a series, and then they give up a punt return on the next possession. It's crazy. And then after that, not only that, a player on Minnesota, I believe the poor man's name is Miles Price. He fumbled the ball twice during returns, causing turnovers for the Minnesota Vikings. So this is crazy to me. Special teams play, got to clean it up.
Yeah, I think that was the first time since 2011 that a kick return and a punt return happened for the same team back to back.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And I mean, Ryan, I'm not taking shots at your team. A win is a win, but those were the Jets. That was the Jets offense before everything happened. The special teams carried the Jets in this one.
Yep. They had up until that point, they had 2 net yards of offense. It was bad. And Aaron Glenn keeps telling reporters, I'm not going to name my starter this week. It's going to be Tyrod Taylor. I tell you right now.
It's got to be. It's got to be.
For the Jets' best chance to win on Thursday against the Patriots in a rivalry game, he wants this game. It's got to be Tyrod. It's got to be Tyrod Taylor. Kevin Wilson from a variety of sports shows on Belly Up Sports saying, who deserved to be fired more, Daboll or Nico Harrison? Yes.
It's Nico, Kevin. It's Nico.
And all three phases, Uncle Al says. Yeah, speaking of, actually, I'm going to transition right to my biggest takeaway from Week 10. And that is the firing of one Brian Daboll from the New York Football Giants. And this was after the fourth time this season the Giants surrendered a double-digit lead in the game. It happened just 2 weeks ago in Denver. 3 weeks ago in Denver. No, it was 2 weeks ago. I'm sorry. It was 2 weeks ago in Denver. And this was a game where, again, in my opinion, defensive coordinator Shane Bowen should have been left at the top of Mount Elbert in Colorado, and after that disastrous choke job that the Giants had against the Broncos on defense. That was Daboll's first mistake, because there's two mistakes that factored into this decision. The first mistake was retaining Shane Bowen. The second mistake was making Jackson Dart the focal point of the offense, and now he's out with a concussion.
Yeah.
And that game plan against Chicago. Now, again, granted, up until his concussion, Jackson Dart was balling. He was having a great game against the Bears. The running game got going, not just by him, but also by Devin Singletary. And granted, you don't have Malik Neighbors. You don't have Cam Scatterbo. So, again, trying to be Thanos and doing it himself. And unfortunately, wound up with a concussion. Probably won't play this week, which means you had to see Russell Wilson out there for the Giants again. And that makes me wonder about Mike Kafka.
Oh, man.
He's the one who's taking over this team. He's the guy who's going to coach the rest of the season. It's an audition, like last year with the Jets. Brian Urlacher got his, Jeff Urlacher got his audition to be head coach with the Jets. Didn't finish very well. Mike Kafka is getting his audition, and I guess he had interviewed for a bunch of jobs this season during this past offseason for some vacancies.
Yep.
Highly regarded offensive play caller. But I also have to wonder if now here's the thing. Joe Shane is going to keep his job, but Joe Shane was the one who hired Brian Daboll, because they hired Shane first, then they hired Daboll, because he both came over from the Buffalo Bills organization.
Yeah.
So he's going to be the one who has the say in who the Giants pick next as their head coach. And if I'm looking at this team right now in 2026, they're going to have a top 10 pick. Let's just face facts. Sorry, Giants fan, we're facing facts here. They're going to wind up with another top 10 pick.
Yeah.
I reckon they're going to go with an offensive lineman, because their offensive line needs help, or they're going to try to trade up and get a safety. We don't really, or get somebody in the secondary. If we look at Tankathon, the Giants, Tankathon has the Giants picking third overall. And according to the mock draft, they actually have them picking Jordan Tyson out of Arizona State, which I think would be a big mistake. They could trade down and get Caleb Williams from Ohio State, or Caleb Downs from Ohio State. Again, up to me, it's up to Joe Shane and the next head coach. But I have to wonder, could Lane Kiffin, who developed Jackson Dart at Ole Miss, be getting a call from East Rutherford when Mississippi's season ends sometime in January? If it's going to be in January, if it's going to be in December, I wonder if he'll get a call from East Rutherford.
Ooh, that's a spicy meatball, because it could happen, but I have to wonder on Lane's end as well. He's being considered, if I understand, he's being considered for a number of college openings as well. He's been linked. But do you think, Ryan, after his first tenure in the NFL didn't to be frank, did not go very well, do you think he'd come back to the NFL? I mean, I would argue that the Giants, as presently constructed, I think they're better than those Raider teams he coached from memory, but I don't know how much better, to be honest with you. I don't know, because my thoughts on this, and it's kind of, Kevin said, who deserved to be fired more, Daboll or Nico? To me, there's one key difference, all right? First of all, Nico made a franchise-altering trade, one that he will be remembered for, but Daboll didn't build this roster. Yes, he had input, And apparently he was a driving force behind bringing in Jackson Dart. But Joe Shane built this roster. Shane is the one that built the roster. Daboll, I think, is kind of taking the fall for some of what's gone wrong. He is accountable for some of it, but it's not all on him. Whereas in Dallas, everything was on Nico. He built that squad.
Yeah, I'd forgotten that Lane Kiffin was in the NFL at one point. He was coach.
Yeah.
He was coach of the Oakland Raiders, and his dad, Monty Kiffin, may he rest in peace, was the defensive coordinator. But I have to. But he was also 31 at the time.
That is true. Yeah, he was young.
This is almost 20 years removed, so he's going to be in his 50s next year. And I had to figure, with all the coaching experiences he's had to be humbled. He had a Tennessee did not go well. The University of Tennessee did not go well there, so he had to go back to basics. He went to the university, was a consultant or offensive coordinator with Alabama for Nick Saban. Went to Florida, went to coach at Florida Atlantic, which is a Conference USA team. Had success there, and then University of Mississippi calls, says, "Hey, come take over our program." And he's done a great job so far. So I have to think that with all the experiences he's had since he got let go from the Raiders, and granted, this is Oakland Raiders when Al Davis was still running the team, and unfortunately, his best days were way behind him in running football teams.
Yeah.
So I had to think, if Lane Kiffin's going to take an NFL job, it's going to be the Giants, because they've got Neighbors coming back, they got Scotabo coming back, Jackson Dart is your quarterback of the future. They need more pieces to build around him. They need another wide receiver. They probably need a pass catching tight end. They need they need more protection up front. Defense, they've got some issues, but I think with the new coordinator, this front four of the Giants with Brian Burns, and Dexter Lawrence, I think they could be, and Abdul Carter, if they had the right defensive coordinator come in and teach them how to play defense and play it effectively, this could be a team to watch in 2026. And Uncle Al's asking a question. Antonio Pierce, I would bring him in I would bring him in as an offensive coordinator. Yeah, I could see him as a head coach, but I think he got way over his head. I think the 2023 campaign was inspiring.
Yeah,
because it was after because he basically cucked McDaniels from New England.
Yeah,
Josh McDaniels basically cucked him in the locker room, which was hysterical.
Yeah,
and it was there. And after McDaniels was let go, they rallied around him, but they couldn't get it going in 2024.
Yeah.
So I had to think, if Antonio Pierce is going to get another job, it's going to be as a coordinator. And I think if the right coach comes along and takes the job for the Giants, which I still think Lane Kiffin could be that guy.
Mm-hmm.
I think his first phone call for DC is going to be Antonio Pierce.
Man, that's
just me spitballing.
Yeah, no, but that would be great, because Lane, like you said, you laid it out well. He doesn't have a lot of NFL experience, but he's got a lot of coaching experience since his time in the NFL. And who better to bring in to relate to some of these players? And he can do, like you said, he was over his head, but he can do defense. He knows his defense. Yep. And he's still young, so people remember when he played, or he can reference moments when he played. And also, he was a Giants legend, so it'd be great. You could even bring him back as like associate head coach or co-head coach,
right?
Kind of like the Seahawks did in McDonald's first year. Mike McDonald's head coach, but they had Leslie Frazier as associate head coach, to bring a little bit more experience. So you could do that with Lane. I mean, I'll ask the question, are the Giants the ticket back into the NFL for one, John Gruden? I don't think so, but I've heard some rumblings out there. But I think Gruden's time coaching probably passed them by.
Yeah, you might be right. Especially since Roger Goodell, as long as Roger Goodell is commissioner in the NFL,
yeah,
Gruden won't be welcome back. Will not be head coach anywhere in the NFL. College, I can see it. I think, and your uncle says, no, not Gruden. No, but I think the road back to coaching for John Gruden is going to be college. But I think he's having way too much fun at Barstool right now. Honestly, I'm just being honest.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna get a couple more things before we get out of here. First, we're gonna do our cut the brakes pick 'em challenge results from week 10.
Because I cut the brakes! Wild card, bitches! Yeah! What?
And the changes, there were no changes. Both of us nailed our upset pick, so that's 2 points right there. I had the Seahawks winning, and they won big. Dustin had the Broncos winning, and they bored the Raiders to death. But neither Carolina nor Buffalo got the win. So right now, there's no change. I still lead by 1 point over Dustin. So I think I do the math. If I think the math is, I'm thinking of 19-18 right now.
Okay. All right.
With 7 weeks to go. And it's going to be interesting to see what comes up here on out, to see who takes if I can pull away or if Dustin can come all the way back and
We'll
overtake me, because he's got that Florida Blockbusters jersey in mind. I can see it in his eyes. But yeah, that's what happened this week in the NFL for our Cut the Brakes Pick'em Challenge. It's presented by Royal Retros, King of Throwbacks. Get 10% off your order with promo code CREDHEAD at checkout and free shipping for every order over $100. That's the Cut the Brakes Pick'em Challenge at the end of week 10.
Because I cut the brakes! Wild card, bitches! Yeah! What?
See half my face in the background going, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. You got to tune in. If you're listening on audio, consider subscribing on YouTube and hitting that notifications bell. And because sometimes Ryan puts a lot of work into putting graphics up on the show, video elements. We're always cooking up new ideas here. So check it out if you're only listening on audio.
Yeah, join us live on the No Creds YouTube channel, and then watch the next day on the Belly Up Sports YouTube channel. Subscribe to both. To both. We're on, firstly for us, we're on the drive to 500. So we're getting there. I want to get there by the end of the year. Hopefully we can do it. Before we get out of here, we're going to reveal our favorite athletes. Actually, I should change that to athletes, not athlete.
Whatever.
Our favorite athletes to wear number 82. And I'm going to lead off here.
All right.
And this is going to be, I think it's going to be a surprise for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
It's not Mickey Schuler. It's not going to be a homer alert. So it's not Mickey Schuler. I'm sorry to say, Jets fans, it's not Mickey Schuler. It's Jason Whitten.
Oh, wow.
Long-time Dallas Cowboy. Yeah. 11-time Pro Bowler, 2-time All-Pro, won Walter Payton Man of the Year in 2012, drafted out of the third round from the University of Tennessee, 69th overall. Nice. In 2003, but had a fantastic career with the Dallas Cowboys from 2003 to 2017, was named to the Pro Bowl in 14 of those seasons. He was named, 13 of those seasons, he was named to the Pro Bowl 11 times. And again, was All-Pro in 2010, was All-Pro in 2007, in 2007, he had 1,145 yards receiving. His best season in terms of receptions, had 110 receptions in 2012. Did not lead the league. That season in receptions. I'll have to look up to see who was the league leader in receptions in 2012. But 110 receptions. Retired after the 2017 season. Came back in 2019. Came out of retirement in 2019. And had 529 yards receiving. Then in 2020 and in his career, played 16 games with the Las Vegas Raiders. And did not have a great season in 2020, but who really did? Who really did that year? But all in all, Jason Whitten, reception for tight ends, one of the great tight ends of our era. Let's just say it that way. For his career regular season, 1,228 receptions for 13,046 yards, 74 touchdowns, and in 7 playoff appearances, 45 receptions, 486 yards, and 1 touchdown. So that's my favorite number 82. Your Uncle Al saying John Stallworth is his favorite to wear number 82.
Oh man,
Sorry, I'm surprised it's not Mark Ingram.
No. Oh yeah, that is a surprising pick from Uncle Al. But I could see, I never saw John Stallworth play, but I liked from what I have heard in documentaries and stuff, I like the way he carried himself. Jason Whitten, Ryan, a pick that I would not have expected from you, but a good pick nonetheless. You picked, I have no love lost for the Cowboys, but you picked one of the few Cowboys that I actually like.
Yeah. So Jason Whitten in 2012 had 110 receptions. You know who led the league in receptions that season?
This was 2012.
It's 2012.
Okay, 2012. I'm going out on a limb. I don't think I'm going to be right. Odell Beckham Jr.
No. Calvin Johnson.
Oh man, Megatron. I should have known.
And
man.
Jason Whitten was 5th in the league in receptions that season.
Man, 5th.
It was Megatron, Calvin Johnson, Brandon Marshall, and Wes Welker had 108. So Megatron had 122 receptions. Man. Also had 1,964 yards.
Man, what a man he was.
But only 5 touchdowns that season. That's the crazy part. Only had 5 touchdowns. Brandon Marshall and Wes Welker both had 118. Andre Johnson, 112.
Wow.
Jason Whitten, 110. Crazy how he fit. Crazy how he finished only 5th. So
man, some of those names, and I'm realizing I should have picked old Calvin for Saturday's show. He was 81, was he not?
He was, and again a layup for a friend of the show.
Yeah,
Captain Lou. He picked.
Well, that's good. How surprised I wasn't here, and thanks, Captain, for steering the ship while I was gone. I'm looking forward to podcasting with you again. But how surprised was he by my Corin Robinson?
He understood. It was a homer pick.
Yeah.
Understood.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be another homer pick for me, Ryan. So get the button ready.
Oh, I got it ready. Homer alert.
All right. So I picked Corin Robinson last week, much to last episode, probably to the surprise of some. But now you're really starting to see my era of Seahawk fandom really started to take off, and I really followed this team because Action Jackson, Darrell Jackson is who I'm picking as my favorite number 82. He was on that team with Corin Robinson for a couple of years, and Bobby Ingram also. Will I pick Bobby Ingram for number 84? We'll have to find out. But
yes,
man, I've been deliberating. So
okay,
we'll see. But Darrell Jackson, some people, and not to call out Kevin at all. Kevin is a very knowledgeable Seahawk fan. He knows more about the Seahawks than I will ever know. Dan as well. They're both more knowledgeable than me. But when we did a thing on Seahawks sessions, it's the 50th anniversary of the Seahawks this year. So they did the all Seahawk team, and they put out their list. Darrell Jackson is on this list. And Kevin went, who? And I said, oh, believe me, I know all about Darrell Jackson. I love Darrell Jackson. Darrell Jackson, drafted by the Seattle Seahawks in the 3rd round with the 80th overall pick what was it that he was drafted? Where is it? 2000. So Darrell Jackson played for the Seahawks from 2000 to 2006. He then played 2 more seasons, one with San Francisco 49ers. We won't hold that against him. And his final year in Denver for the Broncos. But Darrell Jackson, he will always have a special place in my heart. Not only was he, like I said, he was on and is on the top 50 Seahawks. He is on the Seahawks All 50 team. He was nominated. He also was an underrated receiver, I would say, of the 2000s. He caught one of the passes in the Super Bowl XL, that was that phantom pass interference call. It was a bunch of BS, but he, at the time, I gotta find the stat. I gotta find it. So he in Super Bowl 40, that very same Super Bowl, he tied a record for the most receptions in the first quarter of the Super Bowl with 5, tying Andre Reed. And unfortunately, like I said, he was denied the touchdown for that offensive pass interference call that was very ticky-tack. But he also had, at the time, he led, where is it? In 2004 season, Jackson set a franchise record with 87 receptions, which was later broken by Bobby Ingram in 2007. But 87 receptions in a season at the time in 2004 was a record for the Seahawks. Darrell Jackson was a huge part of those early 2000 Seahawk teams when they were starting to come up and take that division from the Rams, and that Mike Holmgren Super Bowl run with Sean. Everybody remembers Sean Alexander. Everybody remembers Matt Hasselbeck, that great offensive line, as they should. But don't forget about Darrell Jackson, because he was a man in that Seattle offense. I love Action Jackson, number 82 for my beloved Seahawks.
Your Uncle Al in the comments saying John Stallworth was his favorite number 82. He and Lynn Swan were incredible. Yes, indeed they were. But again, I'm really surprised they didn't pick Mark Ingram from especially that 1990, that Super Bowl 25 receptions where he broke like 5-6 tackles to get that first down on 3rd and long. Incredible. Keep that almost 10-minute drive alive in that game. Incredible. But he also said it's also surprising if I were to go Homer, Mario Manningham.
I mean, we all know why he loves Mario Manningham. That catch was incredible.
Of course. And he also says, all Seahawk team, Franco Harris.
All right, stop. The Seahawks did that for years. They signed guys that were past their prime all the time. Oh, man.
That's incredible. All right. Before we get out of here, I'm going to give Dustin the floor and have him do an epilogue on his time from Saturday when he did his 24, when he attempted to go 24 hours.
Yeah.
Playing video games to raise money for Duker Children's Hospital at Albany Medical Center. So I'm going to give Dustin the floor and have him give the epilogue about his stream.
Oh, man. Every year I am astonished by the support that I get, and this year was no exception. This year, in a lot of ways, was a first. There are so many people to shout out. I feel like I'm at the Oscars here, so I'll keep it brief. But first and foremost, I got to shout out Ryan. Like I said, his support has been unwavering. He gives me the floor to advertise and promote the stream on the show. And really helped drive, pun intended, the train behind the fundraising. He made an amazing graphic. He promoted it on social media. He promoted it on the Belly Up Network. He promoted it in our Discord and the Belly Up Discord as well. Ryan was instrumental. He also came down, offered moral support. He's got Mario Kart skills, everybody. Watch out if he gets his hands.
And M&M's.
Yeah. Watch out if he gets his hands on that Switch 2. And then I would be remiss if I did not I don't think they're watching this show because they don't care about sports, and I won't hold it against them. But Chris and Jill, I got to thank them. Chris and Jill, the whole Sharling family, not only did they donate, they were with me for almost the whole thing. They joined me every year. Chris coined the phrase Duker dollars. That was all his doing. He also, he's basically my chat assistant and everything. He tries to keep track of things when I'm playing, tries to pick up things when I forget them. So I would be remiss if I did not thank them. I also got to thank my brother-in-law and of course my sister Tracy and my niece, they came, they donated, they brought food, they got everything. Uncle Al donated. Family supports me in this every year. Shout out to Kevin from Seahawk Sessions, who also donated and also watched a little bit. I know it probably wasn't his thing, but he supported. Dan from Seahawk Sessions, he promoted it. Blaine from Belly Up, he donated. He was also watching. Man, the support that I got from the Belly Up Network and also my podcasting family and my friends and family, unbelievable. I can't thank everybody enough. And as of right now, we have raised for this year's total $1,169.53. Now, my goal was $1,300. I did a holiday stream last year because I didn't hit 24 hours. I may do another one this year, so keep your eyes peeled, because the real reason we do it, it's a fun time. Everybody had fun. I had shouted out Sick Diggy, friend of the show. Dee's Ray, friends of the show. Julie from Michigan, friend of the show. They supported the stream. They were watching. They all donated as well. It was unbelievable. But I'm just going to take a moment. Over the last 8 years, we have raised as a collective unit, because it might be listed under me, but this is due to everybody's generous contributions, including the McCarthy family. Ryan, I got to thank the rest of your family. Your dad donated. Your sister did as well. It means so much to me. We have raised $7,695.74 for the Bernard and Millie Duker Children's Hospital. I'll be doing it again next year. Keep your eyes out for it. But also, I'm probably going to do another holiday stream. So if you feel like it, I'll get the dates out on social and we'll start prepping for that. It's going to be much smaller. I don't have 16 hours in me, let alone 24. We went 16 hours. It'll probably be 5-6 hours, but we're going to try to get over the hump to that final couple hundred to get it past the 1,300. Thank you to everybody. Sorry I went long there. If I forgot you, no, I didn't forget you. Katie, Scott, the Marks family, everybody. Unbelievable.
Yep. Your Uncle Al saying thumbs up.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. And again, Dustin, you're doing a great thing for your community. It's inspiring me to do some things for the community too. I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I don't have a video game system, so I certainly won't play video games for 24 hours. But I'll do something.
If you get that Switch 2, though, you're going to be a terror on the Mario Kart circuit. Well, it's a lot of cheddar.
If somebody has it in their heart to donate a Switch 2 or donate $500 towards a Switch 2.
Yeah.
Oh goodness. Oh well. No. I'm inspired to do something. So I got to figure out what I'm going to do, like walk miles or do something really cool for my community. So I'm inspired by it. And again, Dustin, fantastic job as always, coming up with these streams and doing good for the local community here in the Capital Region. And like I said, I mentioned to Dustin during the stream. I said, I have an idea. Maybe we could probably go talk to somebody from the hospital, like bring them on for a show or do 10 good minutes with somebody from the hospital, representative from the hospital, just to give people an idea how important this cause is to Dustin and how important it is to have a local facility in the area that does their damn good job taking care of kids in the Capital Region. So we'll coordinate that hopefully before next year's stream, or maybe before your next stream, your 6 hour, 7-8 hour stream, to get over that $1,300 goal. So we'll figure something out. But again, great job Saturday. Happy to support you. Happy to support you anytime. And whether it's monetarily or in morals or moral support, happy to do it. And I'm happy that a lot of other people who either we've met or we've never met in person, also donated as well. So, but we're going to get out of here. Before we do, just want to remind you to please give us a follow on social media: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. Just search for No Credentials Required. You can also check out our other content like podcasts and written articles at bellyupsports.com. On the podcast side, hit that subscribe button on the podcast side wherever you listen to podcasts, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, Amazon Music, iHeart, TuneIn, Pandora, and our our home hub, which is on Podbean, and hit that notification bell on Twitter and on YouTube so you know when our shows go live, when we have clips up, when we have general show announcements. Again, join us on Thanksgiving morning, 10 a.m. Eastern. We're going to be talking about the Dallas Cowboys, specifically the documentary on Netflix, and we're going to be breaking down the games and also doing some other fun shenanigans involving our collectively, I think, our favorite holiday.
Oh, yeah.
Gets no love. No love.
No, it doesn't. No,
after Halloween, it goes right into Christmas. We got stuff that curvy witch Mariah Carey back in that box for as long as we can.
Yeah, I agree. Black Friday, all bets are off. Do what you want.
Yeah.
But man, give Thanksgiving the spotlight, America.
Heck yeah. And also, one more, I forgot to mention this at the top of the hour and top of the show. Today's Veterans Day.
Yeah.
In Europe and Canada, it's Remembrance Day. I just want to say, on behalf of this show, on behalf of our network, thank you. God bless you. God bless our veterans. God bless those who have served. God bless those who currently serve.
Yeah.
Thank you for protecting our freedoms and throughout the entirety of our nation's history. Thank you. It enables us to do this show. I mean, if we don't have freedom of speech because it's not being defended, we don't have a show.
Yeah. We wouldn't be able to do it. We wouldn't be here in the form that we are. Thank you. And we can say it a bunch, but it's never enough. Thank you. Thank you. And I make sure to reach out to your veterans today and thank them. I sent a thank you message to one Kevin Wilson who was in the Navy, and reach out to your veterans today. Let them know how much what they did, their service, and their sacrifice means to you.
That's right. And we'll be back on Saturday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern. We're going to review Thursday's Jets-Pats game, although I may do an emergency stream on Friday. We'll see. But we'll see. Maybe a special edition of Just Endure the Suffering. But I would have done them this week, but I got some special plans for this Sunday.
Got some stuff brewing.
But anyway, we'll be back Saturday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern. We're reviewing the Thursday night football. We're previewing the rest of week 11. We're at week 11 already in the NFL. It's going by fast. It's going by drunk. It's going by. It's cutting us off and flipping us the bird. So you want to join us for no credentials required, where you don't need a press pass to talk sports. We are proudly presented by Belly Up Sports. For Dustin Henry, I'm Ryan McCarthy. Again, Saturday morning, we'll be back live on YouTube, Facebook, and on the Belly Up Twitter, X, and it'll also be on replay later on the Belly Up Sports YouTube. Till then, have a great week, and we'll see you on Saturday morning.
Good night, everybody.